Stream here on the twitch.tv/the Xisuma, playing on Hermitcraft. Gonna go build a farm today. Gonna dismantle a farm and build one. Ah, look at this area here. All cleaned. Oh wait. Oh wait. How did you get in there? Huh. All cleaned up. Not a problem over there. Sorry. Sorry. Had to do it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it right here at the beginning for anyone tunes in. So there's very little evidence of that murder. Also, I'm a sulfur cube. Got to remember that for the thumbnail. But we got some people here. We got Decan of Heaven, Callie, Char Slab, Digital Chaos, Reft, Emma, Star, Sofa, Fireplace, Danish Norwegian, and Blueberry Ghost. Welcome. Some already not amused with the murder. I thought murder was always amusing, regardless. I need to turn up these sounds in my ears. Listening to Troll Slayer, is it, today? Troll Slayer, yeah. I was like, why don't I recognize this song that's playing? Oh, it's from the album that I'm not so familiar with. Fair enough. I thought it was a different record I put first on the playlist today. No, it's this one. Murder is very amusing, says Enderseller. Oh, it is, isn't it? You know, murder's one of my favorite pastimes. Dead Ricky, thank you so much for 2 months. No, wait. 7 streams. I don't know what I read then. It's a stream streak. Thank you for tuning in again. The skin is so cute. Thank you. I stole it myself. I found a random Sulfur Cube skin online somewhere that looked the closest to the vanilla texture I could, and then I merged it with my own skin. Tried to make the Doom Guy stuff look like the right kind of tone. In this shading right here, it sort of does, but when you see like the Sulfur Cube and put it alongside, it looks like it needs a bit more work, but my skills are limited to using saturation and color hue. I don't know quite how else to change it. Still looks good, says Sunflower. Thank you. It does look good, doesn't it? Veritai is here for 70 streams in a row. And Siberian Wolf for 65. Big numbers coming in. Big numbers. Also, I just remembered I really wanted to take my shirt off before I started streaming because it's kind of warm. The heat wave is over, but it's a little bit muggy. And immediately I'm feeling it. So let's pause here. Let's pause. I have to take off my headset. Ugh. That's me making my old man noises whenever I move about. Ugh, taking off a t-shirt. Ugh. You know. Standing up from sitting down. Ugh. Gotta make a groan or a grunt. I think I once heard a theory that there is a what's it called? Evolutionary psychology. Like there's a pressure evolutionary that it is more advantageous for the older males to make sounds when physically exerting because they're getting older and they're more vulnerable. And like it gives them, I don't know, a sign to the others that they might need help or something. Like, it's just a theory. I don't know if they backed it up with any kind of, like, science. I don't think you really can. But I thought it was interesting. As one would do. Wolf Howls, 50 streams in a row. That's amazing, my dude. Thank you so much. Thank you for 50. Do I have any regular copper slabs over here? Do you know what? I'm just going to replace these with the, these ones and never talk about it again. Dante Redeye, thank you for 78 months. Appreciate you, my dude. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming in and subscribing again. There is a psychological thing. Try saying "wee" when you stand up instead. Pfft. What, will it make me fall over or something? Because, like, you do that when you're on a swing, right? I could see that, honestly, I could see that actually working, because if there's something that has a strong connection to, like, swaying, like, and you do it, it might make you feel like you're swaying. Helpless old man groaning, got it. Soundwave Hope, thank you for 62 months, appreciate you. Hope you enjoy another one. It's just for whimsy points. I'm used to Ren missing my resubs. Now X is starting as well. I haven't seen a resub message. No, there it is. 31 months. Not sure how I missed that, actually. How are you doing on this fine Sunday? Really good, because... let's see. England won the football. Not that that really boosts my mood that much, but, you know, good day yesterday. Ended on a bit of a high. Got plenty of sleep. Woke up, got some stuff done at the computer, stretched out, went for a run. And I've just eaten, so now I'm feeling like really, really good. Also, I had some black coffee. When I was on holiday in Germany, in Berlin, I was getting free coffees with my breakfast, and some of them were basically black, but I didn't realize because they like had foam on top. So I had a black coffee this morning, and I was like, oh, actually, this is fine without milk. Quite like this. So I think I'm going to start drinking my coffee black in the mornings. Because one of the things I want to do is fast or intermittent fast as much as possible. Because longevity science suggests that the more we constantly activate our metabolism, i.e. snacking and eating meals, that has a detrimental effect on your lifespan. So, like, aging happens faster when you keep firing up your metabolism, is the sort of generalized idea. So I've often thought, like, I do put quite a bit of milk in, and I don't know if milk sets off the metabolism, or if, like, having something really small just contributes a tiny bit, or is it black and white? Is it like every time your metabolism digests something, you're contributing to that negative effect? Do we have so many tummy cycles in a lifetime, says 8Prover? I'm not sure that it works like that. It's been a while since I've engaged with the topic. But Dr. Brian Sinclair is the guy who's supposedly at the forefront of all of this, and he just recently returned to YouTube after a couple of years. So the last time I really engaged with it was a couple of years ago. He's come back, and he's got me thinking about it again, and he's providing, like, the latest round of scientific discovery and what they've learned over the last few years, and he seems to be dead keen on fasting. I still haven't fasted a single day in my life, I don't think, and I tell myself I want to do that, and then I never get around to it. This time of year would probably be good. I seem to feel way less hungry when it's hot, so I might try and fast for a day soon. I don't know when that'll be. It probably won't happen because I love food so much. But anyway, I want to make sure I'm getting stuff like the intermittent fasting done right. And so if the milk is potentially activating your metabolism, then I think, like, having black coffee in the mornings makes a lot of sense. Then once I've started eating, I'll have some cups of tea with milk, like I'm having right now. We got Dev0 with a 100 stream streak. That's absolutely amazing, my dude. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you continue to do so. 100, I would say, is probably like around a year. We probably do about 100 streams a year. Probably more than that, actually, on average. Probably a bit more than that. More like somewhere between 100 and 120, I would guess. Far over missed. Thank you for 65 streams in a row. We got Powerboss 2025 coming in for 17 months. Morning X, morning chat. Welcome to the stream, my dude. Mystoria, thank you for 35 streams. We've got Cuplex, the one, the only, the legendary 110 months. Good evening, X. I'll be off for now. Bye. Yeah, it's a little later than a morning stream, isn't it? have fun, my dude, doing, well, have fun? Have fun sleeping. Have amazing fun and eventful dreams. That's what I wish for you. Amazing fun, eventful dreams. Speaking of which, I had a dream last night that had something peculiar happen in it, and I'm just starting to remember it a little bit. I thought I would share it. It was kind of amusing. I was like in a space, in an environment where all of a sudden my actions would suggest that I had maybe become aware that I wasn't in like a normal reality. So I just started getting this sense of like rejecting what was going on around me, as opposed to realizing that I'm in a dream. I just started rejecting the reality that I was in, and it resulted in me like looking out of this window from a room and seeing like I'm in a city, there's a river, but then there's all these like crazy castles that are colorful and fantastical, and there's loads of spires on them and stuff, and they just feel like this doesn't feel like a real place. So I go outside and I head down to this river, and I'm really angry and frustrated, and I start to take off like my headset and my phone, and I make a big deal in front of all of these like students. There's all these students from like the local schools hanging out riverside, like this is the place to go hang. And I kind of like get their attention. I start shouting and screaming. I'm like, we've got to reject it. We've got to reject social media. So I don't know why, but my brain then pivoted to social media, and then I was like, I'm getting rid of my phone, and I throw my phone into the river, and I take my headset and I just start throwing anything electronic that I have into this river. And like a few other people join in as well. Like a few other people throw over some phones and reject technology as well. And then that was kind of it. That's all I remember. I think I might have woken up at that point. It's just a silly little dream, right? This isn't real. None of this is real. Dream Xisuma. Literally like that. There's the British Heart Foundation article questioning the long-term benefits of intermittent fasting on heart-related risks. Short-term appear to be okay. How would they say long-term benefits of intermittent fasting? Because intermittent is like a short-term thing anyway, right? Like intermittent is the equivalent of daily fasting. It's like, I don't know, fasting for 19 to 21 hours a day. And also proportionality is important. And like I'm a healthy individual, right? Like I go running, I cycle a lot, I walk a lot, I lift weights, I don't get sick. You know, I'd consider myself to be in pretty good way above average health. So then something like, you know, the risk of intermittent fasting on heart-related risks, it's like, what's the proportion of that? Is it like I'm going to drop dead soon, or is it something minor, you know? According to the researchers, people who limited their eating window to less than 8 hours a day had a 91%, almost double, increased risk of dying from heart and circulatory disease compared to those who had a more typical eating window of 12 to 6 hours. Yeah, so like the proportionality here is really important. So let's round up 91 to 100 and call it double. What is the starting statistic from which it doubles? So if I told you that let's playing Minecraft doubles your risk of dying from Minecraftitis, you'd be like, oh my god, double? What? But what if your risk of dying from playing Minecraft to begin with is 0.0001? Like, so you need the relative baseline number, because as a person of good health, my baseline for having a heart-related disease is probably very, very low. And so if I'm doubling something like 0.01 to 0.02, that to me is like, what about all the benefits I get from the intermittent fasting, you know? It's supposed to make me live longer. I feel very healthy and energetic on it. Like that's one of the big things it's done for me, energy. I just feel like my body is now capable of creating energy from non-glucose related sources, right? Like, I went for a run this morning. Actually, I had a snack last night. I went to watch the football with my parents, and my mum offered me, like, if you offer me like peanuts and chocolate, I won't touch it. But she offered me a kombucha drink and some watermelon, and I was like, you know, not every day has to be a complete win. I think I'll just have a little bit of watermelon and drink this kombucha and enjoy it, and I did. So like technically, you know, I didn't actually fast because of that, but let's say it's a normal average day, I would have finished eating around 5 o'clock. 12 hours later is 5 in the morning. Maybe I get for a run 5 or 6 hours later than that. You're talking 17 to 18 hours without food, and then I go for a run, right? Like, my body is capable of making energy without all the glucose. That's what I feel like's going on. I don't know for sure. What do they call it? Ketones? Maybe it's related to that, but it just feels like I don't need food to then fire up my body and do something energetic. I don't have like a crash. Oh, I need to eat before I do this or that. I can just go do it. I'm looking for flint, and I just can't remember where it is. Where the heck did I put flint? Aha, found you. I found you, Flint. Flint is also like a name, right? Yo, Trev138, thank you for 7 months. Appreciate you, my dude. Hope you're enjoying the stream. All right, let's go do what we're gonna do. Well, I say that I do need to gather more resources first. So I've deliberately brought with me cinnabar, and now I want some mangrove woods, and we'll take a stack. We'll take some trapdoors, some of these, and we should be good. Shouldn't need too much more than that. I also want enchanting tables, funny enough. Now that I'm thinking through the contraption, and probably like a lot of iron. Let's bring. I'll go ransack my iron farm. Let's remember how to make a thingy. A thingy, yeah, I know what you're talking about, X. Show us how to make the thingy. Yeah, it's double on one book. Hi, Xisuma, where can I find the LPMT wiki with the season maps? I don't think there's a wiki, but on our Discord we have all the different season maps. Powerboss needs coffee. Coffee is good. Wolfhouse says I've kind of had that since I cut out artificial sugars. Added sugars. I've got a big energy boost, which for me just means I can get out of bed most days. Interesting. I don't cut out artificial sweeteners. Added sugar and sugar in general, processed sugar, I try and avoid. Fruits though, I don't avoid the sugars there. And artificial sweeteners, the verdict on that stuff seems to be that it's pretty darn fine. And there are some statistics out there about health risks and if you consume too much, but like some of it adds up to the equivalent of like a statistic I remember is in order to reach this risk threshold with this artificial sweetener, you'd have to drink a bathtub of like Diet Coke every single day. So like, you know, some of these risks about it get thrown around, but the proportionality is missing. What the heck are the books? I think I'm just going to make the one. Make the one for now. I need 3 pieces of sugarcane. You need to start cutting down the amount of sugar you put in your tea. That's a good place to start, because especially if you drink a lot of tea, that's a lot of cups of sugar you could start cutting out. And let me tell you this, when you get used to it, it's great without. It's absolutely fine without sugar in. Pour me a bathtub, mate, says Onky Donkey. Dang, I don't even know, right? I don't even know how much that is. If I imagine taking like a litre glass and like scooping it out, you would get a heck of a lot of litre glasses. I mean, it must be many litres. You could probably look it up online. You could probably Ask the internet. And wait, I need double. Oh, yeah, donkey. Doing everything the slow way. This is what happens if you talk about something completely different whilst trying to do something else. Hat or paw, I'm Beanie. Thank you so much for 4 months. Read a study the other day that people associate certain instruments with certain tastes. Piano tastes sweet. Specific flavors include sucrose and peppermint. Brass tastes sour and bitter. Specific to the taste of caffeine. Thought it'd be a cool fact to share. It is. I would say I've never in the slightest experienced the association between taste and music. I immediately draw a blank on that. Like, that is, yeah, I don't doubt it. Like, I've heard of other things, like people add, dang it! People add colors to letters, right? Or numbers. Numbers have a certain color value. I don't have that, but some people do. So it makes sense that, like, there could be a musical overlap with something of that nature. I don't think do I have any overlaps? Like, I don't associate taste with, like, letters or numbers. I guess it's like, it's just going to be your default normal experience. So until someone asks you, like, a direct question and makes you really think about it, you're probably gonna just, like, not really think about it, you know what I mean? Because it's just your normality. The weird thing is, ever since I switched to a ketchup with no high fructose corn syrup, I can't tolerate normal ketchup anymore, and you prefer barbecue sauce. If you start cutting out sugars in your diet, you will, like, really notice them in foods, is what I've experienced. And sometimes that can really, like, sour the experience. I've got a couple of foodie stories to tell you. Okay, so there's a place where I live, because I had to visit the physio the other day, and there's a chicken place near it. It's a chicken and burger and chips, like fried chicken burgers, that kind of thing. If you know X, I do like chips. If chips are done right, I'm a sucker for chips. What I don't like is hamburgers. Like, if someone says, "Oh, mate, you gotta, you know, try this hamburger. It's the best one going." I'll you know, all right, on a solid recommendation, I'll give it a go. I also want to try smash burgers. I haven't had a smash burger yet, and it sounds kind of interesting. Anyway, so I don't particularly like burgers. I find them to be quite unsatisfying. I think it's because of all the bread. The bread just, like, doesn't fill you up, or, like, it, you know, you get, like, that sugar from the bread, and then the patty isn't enough to fill you up. Anyway, I'm not really a big fan. And this place, it was just so well it looked really good. It was well talked about. It sounded like it was a really good shout if you wanted to have that kind of cuisine. So I gave it a go, and I gotta say, it did seem like it was good quality stuff, but I wouldn't bother again myself. I got myself some chips with a fried chicken burger, and then some tenders on the side, smothered in peanut butter sauce. That was the best bit, I think, the tenders with peanut butter. But I wasn't particularly impressed. However, not too far from where I live, there is a highly rated Japanese cuisine place that I've wanted to visit for some time. And so I found a little wooded forest area near it. And I thought, hey, I'll go for a walk in the forest. It's a nice hot day, and then I'll drive over to this Japanese place, right? And oh my goodness me, was it so good? It was literally amazing. Okay, I didn't want to find something over here that someone else has been. Do you know? I think I've just had a better idea on how to find a location for building my farm. Yes, I'm just picturing it. Okay, let's go find a nether portal and actually pick a different spot. I'm gonna go in a different direction. You're the opposite of me. You don't like chips and fries, you like burgers. Don't really vibe with the deep fried food, they make me sick. Yeah, I'm like that with, actually, is battered fish deep fried? Battered fish, like, upsets my stomach. But yeah, I get that. I get that if you don't like deep fried. It's got a thing to it, you know. Trev says, yep. Okay, so the battered fish is deep fried. Yeah, I mean, I've had battered fish from fish and chip places a couple of times, and it's like, as soon as I start eating the batter, my body is like, nope, stop. You don't want to eat this. I don't get that with, like, fried chicken. So other deep fried stuff I seem to be okay on. I haven't been to Skizzy Wizzy's spot in a while. It doesn't actually look like it's changed since I was last here. Batter seems to soak up the oil, and it's also, isn't batter itself pretty rich to begin with? Where is this nether portal? I just realised I don't actually know where it is in Skiz's base. I just know Skiz will probably have one. This place is cool. Who built this? Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea, actually. Powerballs, thank you for gifting a sub to Wolf Howls. Let's play the animation. We always appreciate a gifted sub. Thank you so much for your generosity. Alright then, let's try Impulse's base. Can I drop in from the top here? I don't think I can. Maybe, no. Oh, Skiz's portal is hidden in the corridor towards the storage room. Okay, let's try again then. I mean, maybe if I use my ears, I might hear it as well. Hear the sounds of the portal. Although I think I might have quieter portals on. Oh, look. Those must be like armor stand blocks. Interesting. What's this for then? I mean, that's the way back up. Oh. Oh, I was holding shift. Well, I found it. That was super fun. That was super fun. What's on this side? Yo, this is a cool tunnel. I love the texturing in here. Is that Emperor Corrales? Just has his own little, like, shrine? Just has a gorgeous tunnel for his shrine. Okay, okay. They share a portal? Corrales is very far away from where Skiz is. I doubt that. Oh. Oh, I thought I was on top. I thought I was on top of it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. There's a couple of portals there. Oh my god, I don't want to interfere with that. Maybe we'll go a little further down this tunnel. Or maybe we pick a different tunnel. So my original idea was just to explore and find a spot, but then I think I kind of want to make this like super easy to access. So if we go this way, we're now heading south. So we're flying out of our base. Gem's somewhere in this direction. Tango's on the right. This might be Joel on the left then. And now we're kind of like in Doc's territory, I think. But then I don't see a portal. Also, I want to add a connection, and we got these signs in the way, so I'm going to have to figure something out there. Huh. I think what I'm going to do is put it on this side and like take a screenshot and rebuild the signs. Maybe like on the inside of this area. Let's get that screenshot straight away. Okay, I still actually think it's a little awkward to read. Kind of want to make sure it's very readable. Okay, that's doable. Right, so now we have that neatly preserved. So when this breaks, we'll be able to reset it later. Although, it might be modded. Yes, it is. Okay, that is superb. Right. So because what we're going to do is put an entrance to a portal right here. And then we're going to take out 6 signs. It's kind of like slightly odd how this is going to work. Like, I could put back 1 here, 1 there. Do the same thing above. And then I guess I'm going to put in some nether brick or netherrack. And then maybe we'll just add some signs on the opposite side so there's like symmetry involved. But this is basically it. We're going to step up into this space and put a portal right here. Yeah! Sounds like literal torture. I think, yeah, I think I should put it back just a step or two. Add a little extra space. Maybe there's like an alternative idea with the signs. You could say that the symmetry is false. Oh my goodness me, we could. Like, the problem is we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you evenly distribute that? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Maybe there is a way to include them all in this area. Like, if I take out the candles, which are very cool, by the way. I don't like that I'm taking out the candles. Put a couple of these down here. What's this? Hanging signs you walk through. Well, they're not hanging signs, so I don't think that's going to work. See, that already has addressed the problem a little bit. Now we've got 1 more to place. I think I've just spotted how to do this in a way that satisfies my mind. Now, I've talked about this many times before. For some reason, the brain likes to draw up these imaginary walls about how things should be symmetrical or not. And it's usually just a big pain in the butt, right? But I think if we put them around like this, they should all line up pretty well. Aha! Problem solved. And we can bring back... Well, we can't bring back the candles, but we'll bring that back. And then we'll probably add in some shape here just to make it feel a little different. And then that's where we'll have the obsidian. Okay, we got a nice little plan now, I think, people. Nice little plan. That was the noise in my ear. What was it for, though? I don't see anything. What was that for? Doo-doo. I still have 1 in my inventory. No! Ah! Dang it! Dang it! I thought it was perfect. I thought wrong. In that case... So I'd need... if I take the 3 from the middle... Does that take care of it? I think that takes care of it, people. Alright. Alright. I might even put those slabs back up here. There we go. You see, I didn't want to get like dragged into spending ages doing something other than the thing I'm supposed to do, which seems to happen a lot. So, like, quick, straightforward portal entrance is what's desired. Might also be smart to put some sulfur blocks here now that I think about it. Like, how do I convey why you're here and what you're going for? Did I get any sulfur? I haven't got any sulfur mob heads yet. They're very low chance of getting them, so that makes sense. Okay, okay. Right, let's have a little look at chat. Are the blocks next to the slabs still spawnable? Yeah, I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. That's okay. This whole thing's going to need a bit of a makeover. As I said, just forever getting distracted and not quite doing the thing that I think I'm supposed to be doing. So now we're out here making some blocks. Ooh, speaking of sulfur heads, like 2 of those would look good somewhere around here. Oh yeah. Dude, they're gonna like vibe off of the nether brick that's behind it. Also, what is this track? I like this track. It's the end of the record. The hermit jokes are taking over, apparently. I love how X is strategically ignoring the puns. I'm not strategically ignoring anything. There's no strategy to my stream today. I'm just doing what I'm doing. They look like smileys. If you could flip them the other way around, like if you turn your head upside down, just quickly turn your head upside down, you know? That old little trick, yeah. It's not uncomfortable, is it? No, surely not. They look like headphones, yeah. If it weren't for the little mouth, there would probably be headphones. Yeah, I get what you mean about the smiley face. Otherwise, they look kind of neutral. Right, back to the stone cutter. So, like, one of these on either side above it. We don't have, like, a pillar block, do we? So I think we're going to end up going with this. So far, so good. I reckon put these in and put the candles on top of them. Yeesh, they're making some noise out there, aren't they? They're making some noises. Unless we want to move those signs, of course. It does feel like now that I'm starting to carve the entrance, they are quite I don't want to use the word obnoxious because, you know, these people donated, they were very generous and donated some money for these signs. The signs themselves are a bit obnoxious. It works like this, and then all of a sudden we're trying to put in a bit of a vibe here, and now it's... yeah, it's like clashing with it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want this thing to take all day. But I'm pretty sure I want more of these. I want it to poke out a little bit, just to grab your eye as you're passing by. Actually, maybe that's too many. Okay, and then we want some netherrack here. So we're going to go slab to stair. That's probably the spot where we need the contrast, right? Oh, it's weird. You break them with your pick, but the sound they make doesn't feel very stony. Almost sounds a little bit leafy. Let's go. Oh, maybe Maybe this works. They're squelchy. They're squelchy, that's what they are. You wonder if Joe is doing work on hills outside. If Joe is doing work on a hill, that would be kind of ironic. That would be slightly ironic. Oh, actually, I think I do want those slabs, right? Or maybe like carpet? Yellow carpet? To stop things from spawning. I think it's going to have to be yellow carpet. Then you're going to want a bunch of blocks behind it. So here goes some sulfur. Flint and steel. Flint and steel. The light from that will probably stop things spawning here. It's not light, is it? You want shapes. Yeah, you want shapes. That's why I said carpet. Okay, okay. Okay. Self. Having a conversation with myself there. Penelope Sky, thank you so much for 46 months. So you know, I have car troubles. Well, I've brought a fancy new electric car. It will be delivered on the 10th. Awesome, awesome. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, I hope that works out. That's cool. The electric should be quite the change, right? Quite the change. Don't forget to light the candles. They don't technically need to be lit, but they will look better if lit. That's for sure. Well, it's actually looking really good here. So, 1, 2. 1, 2. Don't need a crafting bench, do I? Nice. Totally works. Totally works. Okay. Now we got, you know, junk to tidy away. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Alright, that'll do, that'll do. Okay, now we're going to go through this portal, and I hope it's above ground. Yay! It's above ground. It's not near anyone's thing. Awesome. Probably now need to sleep in a bed, which means I need the ender chest. Let's go ahead. Wow, that was ridiculously loud. Slytro, 82 months, coming in with the Evil X Shocker. Breaking all eardrums in sight. Why couldn't we have come through to a desert? We got some desert-y music on and we're in a snow biome. Typical. Right, so I'm going to build this farm, and I should probably build it starting with the player coming through the nether portal. I say it's a farm, it's more like a collection point. Yeah, what materials do I want to use here? So many questions. So many questions. Also, beef is that direction. Does that mean... Yeah, that's back towards where everyone is. That's what that direction is. Okay. I'll tell you what, when you come through, maybe we switch it up and you see... Oh yeah, what way do you face when you come through? Right, so you're gonna be facing this way when you come through. Good, good. Okay, so the back is here. And then the front side is here. Chat, if you were to cosplay X, how can I avoid cosplaying Doom Guy? Yeah, I've always been Doom Guy. There's no way of avoiding that, my friend. Like, cosplaying me is cosplaying Doom Guy. What's wrong with Doom Guy? He kills Martian aliens. I mean, what's wrong with that? It's fine. It's a snow desert. You know, the thing is, like, with music, sometimes just the suggestion of an environment can, like, attach it for you. I also notice, like, I listen to records at particular times of year, and I feel like they reflect that. And I was listening to the Olivia Rodrigo record, and I'm like, yeah, this is a great summer record. But then I thought, actually, this stuff is very, like, at least the back end of the album, it's very, like, 80s. Quite obviously, you got a song called The Cure, and then Robert Smith is on the next track. Like, it's really obvious where she's drawing from. But that music, you know, predominantly is quite autumn and nocturnal and winter. So, like, actually, I could hear myself listening to this music at the other end of the year and being like, oh, it's such a winter record, you know? But what we're listening to right now, definitely deserty, like, no doubt about it. I don't think you'd listen to these sounds and think of anything other than, like, Arabia and whatnot. You can't listen to some songs because they're connected to stuff mentally. That is very, very common. Yeah, because we create connections to times and places with music, right? I think what I want to do is have a little cut in on one of the sides so that you can read some stuff about the farm that's going to go here. Where's those dirt blocks I've been picking up? Right here. Okay, now we need to think about the players' like eye height when they come over to this bit. I am the doctor. Thank you so much for 45 months, my dude. Appreciate your support, man. Hope you're doing well. We got Slytro for 82 as well. Thank you, Slytro. Maybe it's more like this. You step into this space and then you get... let's put some obsidian down. Then you get this in front of you and you like look through the gap. I think we need like a smaller block here. Is there anything? Like, I don't want to put snow in here. Like, I understand that we're not going to get the exact color we want, but oh, trapdoors. Trapdoors might work, yeah. Trapdoors. That would give us the correct color, fortunately. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that. That's perfect. Okay, so the bottom of our farm is going to be here, and you're going to be able to look in, and you're going to be able to pick up mobs through this spot. Now, it needs to be well lit. Let's get some lights. Also, enjoy the music, people. This is it's such a great record. I'm really fond of it every time I hear it. I'm going to turn it up a tiny bit. For everyone, not just for me. 23%. There we go. Obsidian slab. What they need to do is just make it so it's easy for you to place a block in a particular shape, and then everything can just be like, you can look at the color, you can look at the texture, and then you think about the shape. You're not like, oh, is this block that I want going to fit that shape? You're not thinking like that. Actually, I kind of like the idea of using crying obsidian here. Like, matches the texture a bit. Yeah, I'd say so far so good. Definitely want to get some more stuff in here to create a bit more of a vibe. But I'm not sure what those blocks are yet. Probably some of those at some point. Yeah, okay, that kind of works. We need a spot where you pick up buckets. So I think you're going to see like barrels and stuff. I might come back to that later. Like, better to just keep on keeping on, you know? Like, keep moving. Alright, so we want our slimes, or sorry, sulfurs, to kind of land at a particular spot. I think we're going to go back to this yellow again and start using this. And I think we'll throw in some of the polished blocks as well. So when you peek through that gap, you'll see some of the yellow. Oh, that being said, actually, the floor should probably be a light block. Oh, whoops. There we go. How do you keep playing Minecraft and working on builds without getting bored and burnt out, says Prookie Boy. Well, great question. I say this pretty much most of the time people ask, but I think having an audience makes the experience so much more different. Like, if you look at what we're doing right now, it's not just Minecraft, right? Like, we're chatting about all sorts of things. So, the game is also just, like, a place to come and hang out. And that has a big effect on it, I think. And, you know, Hermitcraft is a community, so you're part of something bigger than yourself. Like, it's not just as straightforward as just playing the game. Dude, that is going to be perfect right there. To reach in and pick out some slimes. Oh, God, I keep saying slimes. Right, so I'm going to forever be hopping up here. Walking across this bit. Now, I could build the next bit right here, but it would involve having water on top of that. So we're going to go up by one more block. And then we're going to continue to use these sulfur blocks, I think. Right, what I need next is a block that stops water that doesn't have a hitbox. Chat, are you paying attention? Are you listening? What is that block? What block doesn't have a hitbox but stops water? Signs. Great guess. Honestly, really good guess. Scaffolding has a hitbox. Actually, does it? It kind of does. Technically, it might not. Scaffolding won't work, unfortunately. Leaves have a hitbox. Fence gate is the one I was thinking of, so fence gate counts. But I wanted to see what alternatives you could come up with, and I do like signs a lot as it goes. I think, in the spirit of keeping this whole thing on theme, let's go ahead and make some bamboo signs. That'll do. Fence gate, not in bedrock. An open fence gate, right? So with that there, and then... No, that didn't work. It's not the cleanest looking, but I like it. Actually, it's pretty darn clean. Although now I say it, the defense gate would take up less blocks, but we'll do it that way around this time, you know. Chest doesn't stop water. It has a hitbox. Chest has a hitbox. Glow lichen. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. Glow lichen is dependent on being on another block. We can't have it hang from above. Unless it can be somehow placed like on a block that mobs pass through. Banners don't have a hitbox. That's a good one. You recently explored the Season 10 map on the public server I posted about a few months ago, and wow, you're built so much more than it looks like in the videos you saw. Yeah, we build a lot. We build a lot of stuff. Did I put my bed back in here? I did. Pressure plates require a block to be placed upon. All right, next is this stuff. Make a ring of this around the outside. And then I got to think for a second. Is the container area 4x4 or 2x2? And the problem with asking this question is that I don't want to stop this client, and I've got a horrible feeling that loading up another one may or may not mess with what we're doing. I'm going to try it anyway. We'll have to wait for a second. Am I wearing a sulfur skin? No! No, I deny these rumors. Also, look at my wings. I'm going to take them off because if I get used to not having my wings on when I fly back, I'll be ready for whatever that entails. Right, I'm going to go look at my sulfur farm thing off screen. You can probably hear some squelching. It was a... Oh, yeah, it was a 3x3, but I never upgraded it to a 4x4. That's kind of... so I've got 9... Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do here. Yeah, 9 blocks. We need to keep it kind of close to 9. So we're going to need like 1, 2... Maybe be on the safe side and put 3 here. And then we need to create a spawning platform. This is where I'm going to switch to using mangrove next. Maybe we'll go 2.5. Yeah, 12 might be the right number. So that's 4 spaces. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I didn't want to overdo this next bit. Now we're going to need glass and dye. Probably a bit more than that, actually. We'll see. Arion says, greetings, Xisuma. Greetings, Arion, and welcome to the stream. Ah. Then there's that. I guess I'll just put a slab below it. Yeah, we'll just put a slab below it. And if I think ahead a tiny bit for a moment here. Let's also make a bunch of these, because I'm going to need way more than that. Make another one. There we go. Get rid of that odd amount that's left over. Also, lights. Let's put that away. All right. Where's my scaffolding at? So we're going to go up to this level and do that. Okay. Right, we're not going to use the entirety of this platform. And oh my goodness me, there's going to be a fair bit of work to figure all of this out. That's for sure. Whoops. Okay, so we need like a trapdoor there and there. Close that. Do you know what I haven't done? I haven't updated my status stuff. Can you put the jukebox or a note block in a sulfur cube? I don't think so. And if they did, what kind of functionality would that be? Maybe it plays like a sound every time you hit it. All right. Looking good so far. This next bit is probably going to involve like redstone and pistons and stuff. And so I should probably get more of the farm built before I do that. I keep calling it a farm. It's kind of not a farm. Well, actually it probably is. I mean, you farm sulfur cubes from it, so. Right. There needs to be a big wall around this thing. And it needs to, let's see. Got 1, you got 2. The wall needs to be just over there. So we'll probably use some of the cinnabar blocks. Slime Rancher in Minecraft. Yeah. Xisuma, I got a question for you if you don't mind answering. Do I have a favourite flower? I do. Oh my god, that's so rude, so personal. How could you ask such a question? I don't really have a favorite flower, but I appreciate nature, and flowers are pretty cool, right? Yeah, so we'll just build, maybe do it with bricks. Yeah, let's do it all with bricks around the outside. We're trying to figure out what block you would have as your sulfur cube. Probably something musical. Yeah, maybe just make it the note block. But and then like a nice bunch of like note block particles in the different colors they have coming out the top. That would look cool. Wouldn't this be early? Actually, it's probably not that early for B-dubs. It's like almost 3 o'clock. It's almost 3 o'clock. The time does go quickly, doesn't it? Goes quick when you're having fun. Ah, now here's where I missed something, but not really. I was thinking maybe we need some lights there. I was thinking maybe we need some lights there, but maybe not. What we do need is infinite water. Infinite water? Hello, is anyone interested in a crafter cape? I'm certainly not. Which one's the crafter one? Water. Yeah, it's called water for a reason, mate. Aha, this is what we need. Who's been watching the World Cup anyway? Have you been enjoying the football? I like seeing all the videos of people celebrating, like all the Vikings doing the row in Times Square. That was super cool. It's coming home! Oh my god. Can you imagine if it did? It's coming home. It's coming. Football's coming home. You're cheering for your home country, Portugal. Awesome, awesome. I wouldn't put Portugal down as a favorite. I got a feeling it might be Germany. I don't know. Probably just because I went there recently. If you asked me to pick like a favorite, I'd say Argentina or Germany. Probably be my ones. Oh, we might be a little bit shy of having enough of this stuff. Because we're only doing like 2 layers at once at the moment. We'll probably build the roof out something different. The Vikings, you're pretty sure they're Norwegians. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we need a roof sooner than later. Yeah, but so were the Danes and the Swedes. It's like the Scandinavian region. Maybe even the Finns. Finland aren't at the World Cup, are they? And Russia isn't even. Is Russia not allowed because of the Ukraine war, I guess? I don't think Ukraine's at the World Cup either, actually. I haven't really been focusing on teams that are not there, you know what I mean? You look at the scores and the updates and you're not like, where's this team? Where's that team? You're not a sports person. Ah, that's a shame. I love sports. I love sports myself. Right, getting kind of close to needing the roof. I think what we'll do is we'll make the roof out of mangrove slabs. And we'll put the corners in first so we can sort out the water. Sort out the water, mate. Why does he keep talking like this, man? What's up with him? 1, 2, 3. The only sports fan you tend to be of is esports. Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. I used to watch a bit of StarCraft live back in the day when Total Biscuit was around. He made that like really like accessible and exciting, but since that I've never really found an esport that I'm into that much. Are drops enabled? I actually don't know. I kind of forgot drops are a thing at the moment. I think I have a thing on my dashboard here for it. Maybe I don't. Let's do a search for drops. Nothing related to drops found. How do I... If one of the mods would be so kind as to tell me how I enable that for people, then I'll put the drops on. I think they might be done by default anyway, but... yeah, it'd be nice to know, I guess. Oh, I guess we're filling in all of this, right? Why did I make so little slabs? That's right, I don't have wings. And I need to remember that. Right, I think I'd be wise to stand for a little bit because my hammies are feeling a bit tight after the run. What's the disc in my inventory? You don't think you've seen it before? That's the Scar remix. I need to give it to Scar. I never seem to be online when Scar is. So I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I'll find him at some point. Probably don't want to fill this in too much this close. I don't know. I don't know. I'm winging it a little bit here. Getting close to actually setting it up, you see. Right, I'll leave a little gap like that there. So we're going to need, I think it was 12 pistons facing downwards. That's going to need redstone on and then something to activate it. Are we breeding the sulfur cubes? That we are, yep. Wolfhouse would love to tweak the skin for free. You make skins for fun. Feel free, my friend. Feel free. Just tweet it at me. In the past, people used to just tweet me these skins, so I put them on. That's how I used to do it. Okay, apparently there's no active Minecraft campaign drops running at the moment. And that they're automatically enabled and disabled by Twitch anyway, so... no drops at the moment, it sounds like. Perfection Piano, thank you for 3 streams in a row. And a reminder that I gotta play piano later. So I'm seeing what I need to do. I'm just thinking about what block I want to use. I think I might put this block back in. Actually, no, let's put in... Let's get some polished cinnabar up in here. I reckon you should be able to convert those back to other types. That would be nice. So I want that one. Or maybe those. Yeah, let's use those since we haven't used them anywhere else. Drops, question marks, this Cyber Gamer. If you've literally just tuned in, drops aren't running at the moment. Okay, I think I'm going to need to go like this. Yeah, to place all of these. It's good you are winging it while wearing an Elytra X. I'm not wearing an Elytra though. There is no Elytra equipped. Okay, so that's everything there so far so good. And then I guess we'll have to try and do the majority of our business from the front here. This is where it'll definitely get a little bit tricky. Could probably do with some temporary blocks. So let's go with some dirt. Get rid of that. Couple of temporary blocks here. And I might be overthinking this a little bit. I was kind of thinking we need to get exactly 12 sulfur cubes in there, but not really. Also, I got an idea. Help me here, chat, right? We've got to rename... Where's the anvil at? Or do I just keep them in here now? I thought I had one in one of these. Not in there. Where do I keep the anvils? Oh, in here, of course, of course. Right. Yes, we got these. Problem is, they all got this name. What else do I not need here? Got a whole bunch of random building blocks. Okay, looking a teeny bit better now. Right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, we can give them names, right? But we're going to give them all the same name. But what should that name be? I was thinking, let's call it Courtesy of X or something like that. But can we get a little bit more creative and interesting? This is a place where hermits can come pick up sulfurs for free. Min Min, thank you for gifting out a community sub. To PK Fabio. Much appreciated. Be sure to say thanks in the chat, PK. Derplings. Actually, that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. Derpling. I'm going to call it a derpling. That's so simple and so fun. You got yourself a derpling. I mean, just like that, we're done. I love that we just... First thing I see, yep, that works. That's the vibe. That's the vibe we're looking for. We'll take it. Like, I was really thinking more like you get it and it says, brought to you by X or something. But then, nah, we can give it a cool little cute name, so we'll do that. Okay, so what we got to do is put 12 of them in here. And I was sort of thinking like 1 on each square, right? Now, they shouldn't be able to escape. No, this is wrong. Okay, good time to spot that it's wrong. Not a bad time. Not a bad time at all. And I have everything I need here to fix it. What I don't have, actually, is an elytra to swoop on in there. Well, I do have one, but you know what I mean. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. We're missing some blocks. It's because I placed the glass that I put this down and forgot that we need half slabs here. So now we have the half slabs. Now we do that again. We avoided a derp. A rarity around here. Right, this should be... You shouldn't be able to escape, so... As I try and fill up the area... I can do that. I can put them in there at the front. Just got to be patient now. Right, 1 left. And then we put in this. If I can. The squelchy is real now. That's some serious squelch going on. You know what? We haven't put any light in there. It's just kind of occurred to me. It's going to be like a little dark space. Oh well. I don't have free cam to check on this thing either. Moment of truth. Now we have to break these. Oh my goodness me. Oh, I think we were pretty close to fail right then. Like if one had broken through, that would have been a fail. But one didn't break through. Those were not sticky pistons, thank goodness. Right, so here's where having my free cam would be fantastic, but I don't have free cam. What I can do is poke a hole up here and have a look. That kind of looks like a big one that's chilling. Oh, shoot. We shouldn't have used glass here. Ah, should not have used glass. Might be able to fix it. Ooh. Ooh. Why did I not think of that sooner? Right, we'll try and fix it with mangrove, and we'll use something like dirt to get in there. Some extra blocks if I need it. Free cam has been updated. Oh, I didn't run Modrimp before I booted up today, so I didn't catch it. Might not get that lucky. It might not be that easy. Because look, this one is clearly clipped. No. You are not... You need to be sheared. That's what's going on there. Interesting. What blocked it? Maybe it picked up that dirt. Hmm. Oh, B-dubs has got us. Oh, so maybe I... You know what? Either way, I'm gonna rip out the glass, because... Yeah, but maybe it wasn't quite what I thought it was. Oh, no, that's not good. There we go. Maybe the glass could have stayed. I think the glass could have stayed. I'm going to put the glass back. Did I? I broke the glass. I didn't use Silk Touch because I was then immediately trying to replace it. Okay. I could really do a free cam right now. Oh, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, get back. Oh. All right, then. See, I can't exactly check what's around the backside, but I guess... Oh, I guess I could go down here and have a look. I think we're good. I think it was just the one. So now they're going to do their thing, believe it or not. They're going to do their thing. Chicken wang. Ain't no thing but a chicken wang. Okay. I think that's everything. The contraption is now, like, basically ready to go. The only thing we need to do is set up this area. So we'll do that next. Alright, that was good. That was good. How does it work? So when they grow up, which they do after a certain amount of time, they are going to be inside of blocks, which will cause them to take damage and split back into the babies. When they do that, they will, some of them will glitch out through the blocks, get pushed off to the side, that kind of thing. And that means that we will collect them, essentially. Ginger the Lily, thank you so much for your 14 months. 14 months, my sub is in its awkward teenage phase. It is. How awkward. How awkward. It's not a phase. Your sub has got that goth makeup on. That's what's going on. They pierced their nose. They've dyed their hair black. Okay, so actually maybe what I'll do is put iron blocks here, because we're basically saying, do you need some buckets? I also think now we've sort of reached the end of the time lapse, so to speak. So let's go ahead and save that as... I keep calling it a farm. Is it a farm? I'm not sure. Should we do it with like a dispenser? I was thinking of having a bucket or something. Not a bucket, sorry, a barrel with buckets in it. Yeah, Maybe shelves. Oh, the great idea, because then you just right-click on them. Although that way you would get like 16 at once. And we only want them to have one at once, I think. That's almost perfect. Is there a way to make it so there's only one? I don't think there is, unless you like do some weird renaming stuff. That's a great idea, though. Maybe let's put this thing on one side and then put like a lectern on the other, instead of going for the whole perfect symmetry stuff every single time. So like over here you have a dispenser. For some reason, I keep picturing putting a bar in front of it. So you got this here. Then somewhere there you're going to need like a button. I guess I want some stone, basically. Where on earth would I get some stone from? Right here. And you could just put it directly under it. Or could you? Because it's one block back. Yeah, you could. Just need a bit of redstone finagling. So you're powering that block. Redstone, redstone, redstone. How do you actually get it to point up to that nice and efficiently? Huh. Like I could put redstone here and then a torch, but then not a torch on top of it. Maybe use an observer, but then you might power something twice. What's the way to one tick with an observer? I don't think there is, actually, the way I'm thinking about it. Oh, you could have a crafter? That'd be way more interesting. Just have a crafter there. Like, that'll just look more interesting. Do you know what I mean? I kind of like the idea of you seeing it, but I don't want you to... Maybe I don't use iron bars. Maybe I use glass, right? It's less... it doesn't cover up as much, you know what I mean? Why is redstone so confusing? I don't think it's confusing. It's just you have a limited amount of options, and sometimes the thing that you're trying to do looks simple, but it's a little deceptive. That's terrific. I might even dye that white, but I kind of like how the default glass sort of brings your attention to it a little bit. So we could use a piston, but that makes sound. We could use an observer, but you need something that activates one time, not twice, when you press the button. And if you feed that crafter with another crafter, you can have your iron blocks as storage. Callie, that sounds simple, but then you have to play a counting game, right? Then you have to add edge cases, like what if the thing is full? And I like a redstone challenge. I just don't think I'm in the mood for it. Oh, make one torch. Yeah, this inventory just got absolutely disgusting again. Like, it is a revolting inventory right now. Let's look at it again. So maybe just come out to the side and go up to the side. It's probably not a super elegant, interesting way of doing this, really, is there? It's just keep it basic. Just do that. Right, okay. So that'll boop, power it. Then I think if someone's sitting there spamming it, there's a... Wait a minute. No, powering it crafts it. Right, so if someone's sitting here spamming this thing, there's a slim possibility that they might drain this thing. So what we'll do is we'll double up the storage buffer just there. I mean, like someone would literally just probably have to spend ages here spamming buttons over and over again. And then after that, we'll have a bit more storage. What happened to my little scaffolding, man? Need that. I guess if I really wanted to, I could just double up the hoppers and, yeah, you got all of that now. You got all of that for storage. So the crafter... forgot to configure it. Whoops. That's particularly annoying. Ugh. How can I most effectively pause this? Ugh. Okay. That works. Now when you're on the other side and you press the button, you'll just be crafting one of these. Very good. Dirt as redstone base block. Well, the idea is that you only ever see this thing from in here. That's so much cooler than a dispenser, right? You see its little mouth chomp, and you get given a bucket. So now all we need is instructions on the opposite side. Maybe some very slight, small details in here. I'm not sure what would fit, really. I like the idea of having a little copper golem statue just hanging out. We'll put you down here. Just standing, just hanging out. And now we need that lectern and written book. Torches, I guess, are in there. I prefer them to be in here first. Cool. We got Crystal Wolf here for 4 months. Thank you so much. Appreciate ya. How's it going? Thank you for resubscribing, saying, hey guys, hey guys. Picture instructions because Hermit can't / don't read. It'll be a brief book. It'll be a short one. I'll have no excuses. Wait, what am I doing here? That's what I'm doing. So it's like, welcome to the Sulfur Cube Breeder. Let's make this look a little more fancy. Some bold. What about gold? Yellow's probably a little unreadable. Ah. Welcome to the Sulfur Cube Breeder. What should we say next? 1. Grab a bucket by pressing the button behind you. 2. Look through the enchanting table gap and right click a cube with the bucket. What's the soup, man? What's the soup? That's kind of nice, doesn't it? So grab a bucket by pressing the button behind you. Look through the enchanting table gap and right click a cube with the bucket. 3. If there are no adult cubes, you will have... See, this is where you probably better just put in the PTO. I'd love it if it all fit on one page. Maybe I can. If I get rid of the this bit, welcome to, right? It's just Sulfur Cube Breeder, and then we get an extra line. So if there are no adult cubes, wait for the next breed cycle. That's it. Then it's all on one page. Can I improve it at all? Actually, If there are no adult cubes, wait. Yeah, true. I could say wait. But now I can put for the next... what I want to do is breeding. But, yeah. Small detail. Right, maybe final detail. I like just deliberately adding extra little details. Maybe get rid of the 1 and make that underscore as well. Oops. Yeah, that looks super cool. Alright, so now you got that there. Sort of, it feels very cramped here, but that's okay. I guess I want a light block behind. I'll probably do crying obsidian again to keep it subtle. So, lighting behind that, then iron blocks all around. What else could I add? I don't really feel like there's much room for details, if you know what I mean. It would just be putting a few minor little shrubberies or whatever in each corner, and then it might feel a little too cramped, so keep it simple. So you walk through like this. I think I want you to face them when they come in. Maybe put a little surface, something to interact with there. Crafting bench, maybe? Or an anvil? Maybe an anvil might suggest, oh yeah, you can rename it, and then something on top of the anvil. I think item frames might help a lot here as well. So what do we put on top of the anvil? I'm thinking a flower pot. And then just a little bit of greenery in there. We didn't get any, like, sulfur-related greenery, did we? So there isn't really one that matches the theme. Let's go with something yellow, though. And as far as item frames go, I'll put probably a bucket there. Maybe a bucket with a sulfur cube. There's some, like, space here, I feel. Ender chest. Interesting. That's a very good idea. Where would we put the ender chest? Like somewhere central, right? If I put it there, then I want something on the opposite side. But let's not get too silly about it. Let's make this functional. So we'll put an ender chest there. We need 2 more iron blocks. I brought a lot with me. And I need to stock up what's up above, actually. Alright, yeah, 2 there. Wow, I'm low on food. Where do I keep the ender chests? Don't I usually have ender chests in my ender chest? That's a very me thing. Maybe I don't at the moment. So I'll take that one and put it over here. Oh, listen to that squelchy sound. Look, we've been here long enough. Now you can get your Derplings. Brilliant. A whole fresh batch, freshly arrived. Okay, so I want to add 2 item frames with sulfur cube buckets in. And I have an additional idea on what we might do with that. What am I... Oh, what was there before? Uh-oh. I don't remember what was there. That's only happened just now, hasn't it? Wait, that was the crafter. I must have 1 left. Oh boy, now I've got to make a crafter so the filter remains. That's annoying. Let's put a pin in that. Let's make sure when we get back to the base, the first thing we do is craft some crafters, right? Okay, so we're crafting crafters. Item frames. I'm having a bad time today. I'm having a bad time using my noggin. Remembering where stuff is. It's in here. So check this out. Grab one of those. Now, when we put it up here, you can read the text nice and easy. Yeah, so I know what I want to do here now. I know what I want to do. I crafted a whole stack of name tags recently. They are in the white one. There they are. Okay, so we're gonna get this guy and change it to grab a Derpling. Grab a Derpling. That's basically there to remind them they can rename it as well. But now we've added like extra layers, you know, like maybe a sign here with an arrow, sign there with an arrow. Yeah, like we just want to keep adding like minor things that aren't too imposing, I think. Okay, right, so we're gonna put a mangrove sign on one and another sign on the other. Derplings, I like them when they're still hot. Oh, you're making me think of dumplings now. Lawler says an option for tips / donations. Cybergaming says X doesn't collect donations. That's not true. There is a dono link below the stream, but I believe it was becoming depreciated, and I just wasn't going to bother to update it. Like, if you want to make a dono, just subscribe, and like you also then get access to the Let's Play Minecraft Together server, the Discord server. Like, there's some perks for you that way. But yeah, if that link still works or not, it'll become depreciated at some point. Let's put it... Grab a 3 bucket. That does need some arrows, doesn't it? In-game, bruh. Oh, in-game? Is it in-game? I guess so. You could interpret that message a bunch of ways. All right, then. Breeder. Oops. Man, that is some squelchy noise they make. By the way, if like someone loads this area for too long and like lots and lots of those things are made, they will destroy themselves somewhat with entity cramming. So the max mobs they take up is somewhere around like 70, I think. Oh yeah, and I got this to do up here. Right, I must remember to do the crafter. That's like the one little job, and I've had a bit of trouble focusing, I think. Which always seems to be a problem. Like, I'm just constantly looking for stuff and forgetting why I'm looking. What I want is, I think, a yellow dye and a red dye. Maybe some glow ink? Yeah, definitely some glow ink. Yeah, gonna need the glow ink for sure. That looks good. That one's a bit... I don't know. Anyway. Should work. I guess the iron blocks are the last thing we place as we leave the area. It's kind of weird. But it's not that weird, but you know. Let's tidy up. How about Sulfursuma? I haven't given it a name. It's just like the breeder or whatever for now. Okay, all the trash in there. And then I don't think there's anything else to sort away, so we just pick it all up and go. Very good. 3, 4, 5. 11 down here, 12 over there, 7, 14. Nice. And we probably need some more ender chests somewhere. Need to figure that one out. So ender chest and crafter is kind of it. Oh, so much for our infinite water. And now, that's it. That's what you'll see when you come in here. I feel like it's just said maybe rename it, right? Like just as a suggestion. Maybe rename it. I feel like that's more fitting of what we want. Maybe rename it. Bam. Beautiful. Beautiful little project we got here. I am going to do that and put my sulfury self on the thumbnail as well. That's the idea. All right, and guess what? I don't even need any. I've got so many. Got so many. I have a bucket full of dirt. That's a great name. That's a great name for it. Also, I probably want to make a little post for the hermits telling them right-hand side, north tunnel. At 10. Let me get out the notepad for that. That's actually kind of handy. So I can tell them exactly where to go if they want to get some sulfurs. Rename the bucket so people don't think you need name tags. I'll let them figure that out. We're done. We're off. It's a good point. It's a good point though. Like, the name tag makes you think you got to do it with a name tag. Maybe they'll have that moment themselves. Maybe they'll be there thinking, but wait a minute. I can rename the bucket, and then they'll feel smart, and then we would have done good. We would have made someone feel good. So that's my perfectly reasonable and logical decision. That has nothing to do with the fact that I'm walking away from the project and that I'm done with it. No, we're trying to make hermits feel good about themselves. Oh, and I came all the way back about that. So I guess I've got to do a repair tools run. That is... Oh, actually, there's sticky pistons in there that are not junk. But yeah, we're going to have a big sorting thing soon. I've got to add new blocks. Why don't I do that as well? Get some of these new blocks in the filter for when they go through. I could do all of that, actually. Okay, so in which case we're going to grab that to do all of the filtering today. That'll get set up. Nice. Oh, and that. And that. And then here, what did I say? Sticky pistons. Yep. Then we need to do ender chest, repair tool. It's too much. The list is too big. I'm going to forget something. Let's write it down. Okay, ender chest, craft, the repair. First thing we'll do is the filter. Look at us, organized and good. Goofy me, thank you so much for 26 months. How's it going? I'm melting in my own sweat pool. I've had a little bit of that lately, yeah. A little bit of that for sure. Thanks for subbing, dude. Appreciate you coming back. Yeah, there isn't a spot where I keep ender chests. That one would make sense. So I guess I've been putting them in here and slowly running out of them. And ender chests are obsidian and eyes of enders. So I should have a bit of access obsidian back here. Yep. We'll take that many, and then we just need to make some eye of ender. Like 4. So brewing stuff. Ooh, I don't see blaze rods. Blaze rods! To those who remember. The stream is so good you needed this, says Pablos. Thank you, my dude. Very kind of you. Right, I believe we can actually now turn our attention to other non-Minecrafty stuff, I guess, now that the Minecraft project is done. And we're just doing the grind at the end of it all. I wanted to let y'all know that I've got an Xisuma Says video in the works. I don't know when it will come out, though, because Sky is, I believe, on a vacation. And when they come back, they'll edit the video and upload it and stuff. But I was super happy with making this. Like, it's been on my mind for a while, and I've been a bit hesitant to do that kind of thing again, but I've got some new tools that help me make content that I've been using, help me do my writing, and now I've got like a much better way to get thoughts out of my head and onto paper. So it didn't take me that long to write a whole video. And also, if you've been reading the music blog and noticed there's loads of that coming out, that's because I've just found a way to make it so much easier for me to write music blogs and write, and yeah, the result of which will be more content, I guess. Okay, how am I going to structure this? I think I've got to get it all in my inventory first. It's been a very long time. Oh my god, it's probably been over a year. And what I last said, I really want to stick to, is that I don't want to make just clipped content where it's me talking like this. I'm slow. You know, there's ums and ahs and pauses and essentially a lot of editing around the idea itself. I didn't want to do that again. I wanted to make sure they're scripted and well thought out, and now I've got the means to make that happen, so... You know, I don't know where to go after this one video. It could be I make this one video and that's it. Like, that's all there is. Who knows? But I kind of feel like I've always had that itch to make that kind of content. Maybe I can scratch it a little again. I think I'm missing one type of block here. I think I overlooked one. That one. So yeah, we want that one in here as well. Obviously. And then that. And then kind of need to repeat the layout for the next thing over here. Right, so we have no bricks. So we need the special block, the wall, the bricks, and then the stair and the wall for that one. Okay. All of the bricks. I think it was the wall for that one. I'll just get all of them again, just in case. And then I think I said like slab, probably wall, slab or stair was missing. And then we need the special one. I'll come back and grab them because I'm a sucker. I don't want to leave items lying around, do I? Okay, put those in. To be honest, even if you're talking gibberish, I'll still watch. Wow. Anti-Brint says, can I ask what made the thing made writing easier? You always struggle with writing. So I have a AI dictation tool on my computer, and before you do that thing where you go, oh AI, oh icky, oh AI, oh god, I'm gonna throw up. Sorry, had to. Before you do all of that, I explained it very clearly in my video as well, right? This isn't a tool that runs out of one of the big companies' data centers. It is a localized, runs on your computer model. It's open source, so this means it's free to use. The big companies don't scrape any data from it. They don't get, you know, your valuable data to improve their models and stuff. Like, they don't get any of that. It's just running on your system. Now, we all know that these tools were, the language models and stuff, were created by scraping the internet's collective work without anyone's consent. Essentially built off the back of, you know, the work of many, many people over the years without the consent. So there is a little bit of an ambiguous grey area there, which I haven't really heard any opinions that would like challenge the usage of it. I see it like it's a tool, like many tools we've had before. You know, when Photoshop replaced a lot of artists' work, it didn't create a big deal. It was a new tool. And so to me, what I like about this is that it's actually a tool that goes back into the hands of everyone who helped create those models, because it's free and open source and you can use it. And I think people should take advantage of it. So the tool will basically, I now talk to my microphone when I want to write a blog or I'm writing a script, and it just means everything comes out faster, which helps me stay on track with my thoughts. Yeah, like the fact that it comes out faster doesn't slow anything down. It's not, sometimes, you know, you can go too fast for your own good. Usually I write scripts, and what's difficult is that I'm taking such a long time to write all the words that I kind of like lose that connection with what I'm trying to say. It's a little bit like that with writing music blogs as well. So now when I write the music blog, it's just like I just say what's in my head and then structure it and rewrite little bits after, and it just takes me like half the time to do. And I'd say maybe even more for like an Xisuma says script. I used to spend hours writing, and I did it all in like half an hour. So I'm really happy with it. The other thing that I've done as well, and again, just like with this tool, it's a localized language model. It's Google's Gemini. It's their open source one, thus meaning you can go grab it, you can use it localized on your computer. You're not using a giant data center, using your own system. You're not giving Google valuable data. It's now just something free for you to use. I've then been asking questions and things into that language model to help me do stuff. Sometimes it's like, hey, what's the word for when you feel like this, but it means something else? And then it gives me some ideas. I'm like, oh shoot, there's the word. I couldn't think of it. By the way, I do kind of worry about like this constant, having a constant like easy path to something, like the path of least resistance. Is there like a cognitive downside to this, where in the long run you just become worse and worse at like remembering simple stuff because you just always end up asking the AI? Anyway, I had it do some programming, because now the next step for me is to get these tools to work together for editing videos. There's a part of editing my videos that is really like slow and sluggish, and it's just basically chopping up all of what I've recorded into clips and picking out the ones that don't work and then refining the ones that do. And if I could just have some sort of like batch edit where it just powers through and like splits all the clips up for me, that would be such a big, like, that would just cut so much time off of editing. So I was talking to this localized language model that's been trained on all of the coding stuff, and it all seemed really positive until the script that I created didn't run. And then I started to try and diagnose it and didn't really get anywhere. So, and I had that experience last time. Once I started to try and code with the language model, I quickly kind of just like hit this wall that made me think, is it just a hallucinating code that's not going to work? Or is it pulling from something? Because the way this one talked to me, it felt like it was actually pulling from a source and had like actual knowledge of what I was trying to do, and that there's like this pre-existing tool that I could use. But as I got further and further into it, it started to feel more like maybe it was just hallucinating a bunch of stuff. But I'm going to give it another shot soon and see where I get with it. But where the confident falls, says Burt Potato. Yeah. The cognitive downside is that you're not vetting the result and the level of confabulation is still high. It always depends, right? Because when I do it with language for writing, it's like my mind is trying to reach for that word and I can't quite remember what it is right now. I used to just sit there for a little while and think about it, or come back to what I was writing later. When I'd write my blogs, I'd leave like little underscores in them, and that would mean just like come back later and the word will probably come to you. Now I get access to that word quicker. Like, yes, the models just like hallucinate, but like if it's, you know, if I say what's the word for crossing the street and it says rainbows, I'm like, well, it's not that word, is it? You know, so like I don't know what the word for crossing the street is, and I don't know why that's the first thing that popped in the head. But if it said stride, or quickness, or, you know, like something, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll see where you're going there. But it allows you to kind of come back at it, and yeah, you use your own intuition at some level, right? James McMilner, thank you ever so much for 70 streams in a row. That's amazing, my dude. Appreciate it. Oh, we've already got some droppers over here, have we? Probably going to make more than I need. You just came from the update video. Can I earn the cape by watching here for 15 minutes if drops are not on? Apparently, drops aren't running at the moment. I don't know what's up with that because it's supposed to be running for a while. So if you want to stay and watch because you're like, hey, I got 15 minutes to watch a stream, then if you don't get it, no loss. But I wouldn't get your hopes up because it sounds like it's not actually running at the moment. Using AI models is like gambling. If you depend on it too much, it will deceive you much. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It really depends on what you're using it for, right? And the idea that it would deceive you, like, are we implying intention or something there? Like, the AI models can certainly mirror human behavior, like, there's been some instances of it, like blackmailing, but then it can also mirror our good, behaviors and intentions too. So for using it for language is a really great tool because if it spits out nonsense, like, you see that it's nonsense and you move on. Using it to get it to code stuff for you, if that code doesn't work, yeah, I don't have any idea if it's close or far, if it's just hallucinating or if there's some something good going on there. But if I can put in a little bit of time and I get a result, I get a tool that works and does the job I want it to, then it's kind of like no harm, no foul. It's doing what I need it to do now. Okay, so we did the ender chest, we did the crafter, we did the filter. We're gonna go repair. We're gonna go repair. Not bad, not bad at all. You thought it said till the 10th? It definitely, yeah, it was definitely gonna run for a while, the drops thing, but it doesn't appear to be running. Mr. Tiny Brain, thanks for the tip. Getting it to do one smaller complex thing at a time is the way to go. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, it seems like what I want it to do is a simple task, and the way it talked about it, it was if like, oh yeah, something out there already exists, just use this. But then when getting it to run, I couldn't get it to run. And then I tried to feed the whole code back into a new chat, and it didn't seem to like know what was going on. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to like just try a few approaches, but in my mind, the win here is just that I need it to do something simple, and it's not like there's layers to my project. It's not like if I can get one little bit of it to work, then the other thing, and then the other thing. It's quite a small, straightforward project. So if I can make it work, then it's something that just sits there and works for now on, and then I might. You know, I might then figure out some other project to try and help with the workflow stuff. Your main problem is that it makes it harder for you to perform certain functions without depending on it. If I'm looking for a word via the AI, it'll be harder for me to get it on my own afterwards. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying a moment ago, right? Like, are we going to become too dependent on these tools and have less of a cognitive sharpness? For me, so far, it doesn't feel like that. If anything, it feels like it's giving me more words. So I, like, absorb the words that it's given me, and they become a part of my vocabulary. And that's usually for words that I basically sort of already know anyway. Just needed reminding of. But I think that might speak to how, like, passionate I am about language and the use of language to express stuff like I do. Because then I have more of a want to learn vibe with it. If I were getting it to help me with chores and things that I didn't really want to do, but I had to, I could see how then it would be like, oh, just ask the AI, you know, because you're not that interested. When you're really interested in something, you can get into it so much better. Where I've been learning to play piano, and I've been learning music theory, I've noticed that my like piano playing is helping me look at the structure of chords and like identify them in different ways. And it's just like my own natural fascination and curiosity is me getting more out of the experience than I had to. To play the songs, I don't have to like think that much about the chord shapes. It's all just in front of me, but I find myself like thinking over where all the different shapes are on the scale and how they shape out on the keyboard and how many sharps each one has, or no sharps or flats, and like it's the fascination that makes you want to learn. So I don't really fear that with stuff that I'm interested in. I could almost see myself asking it a bunch of music theory questions to maybe give me some like creative ideas or prompts to get going, but I kind of don't need that. Like if ever I feel like, oh man, I don't know what to do in music today, maybe I'll ask it, but I have a feeling I won't feel that way. Do I have any tips for learning piano you've been trying but struggling? Consistency and persistency. Just put in the time every day. 10 minutes a day. Just start with that. No matter what. Sit down, do it, and it'll add up over time. If you were hoping for something a little bit more like do this, do that, like I don't think I've played piano long enough to know those kind of tips. I just know the way I've been learning, consistency and persistency. More so, what should I learn? Practice. Get yourself on a course, man. Like find a piano course to follow. Like get some learning material. The internet is full of opportunities for people to pick up and begin playing an instrument. There is no shortage of people out there with beginners courses. So look around, get something for free, try it. If it doesn't work for you after a while, try a different one. Lawler says, your experience has been the opposite. When you use LLM for ideas, you find more of what was suggested than when I try and do it alone. I think it's probably just an enthusiasm thing. Like if interacting with it feels like a fun, positive experience, I think that could go a long way towards you remembering and enriching yourself with like that interaction. Whereas if you're using it to like bypass mundane, oh, I don't want to do this stuff, it just makes so much more sense that you would not engage with what it's telling you. Like if it gives me an answer to a musical idea, like I'm trying to figure something out, what does this chord resolve to? And it gives me, it's going to be like, oh, Eureka, dang, that's awesome. This thing resolves to that. I will remember that. When I find what chord resolves to another one, I love that. That sticks with me. I found some combinations of chords that I really love on the keyboard. And yeah, once I learn them, which sometimes is for other people's songs, you just notice like, oh, that's a clever way of putting these chords together. And then it really sticks with you. So like your enthusiasm and your enjoyment of something goes a long way, I think, to helping you remember. So anyway, we'll wrap up today's stream right there. We'll go look for someone else to raid. But I'm going to bounce. As you know, I get allergic to the computer after a couple of hours. What can I say? I'm just going to send you to someone who's doing some hardcore runs. Random channel. Hope you enjoy what you find. I'm going to go. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for your amazing support, people. And check out my music, which is on the screen. Soulside Eclipse is the name. Check it out if you haven't done so before. Thanks for doing that. And I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.